Hello everyone. Hi, my name is Parag, and some of you, if you don't know me, I make these SQL videos where you can actually see me solving a question live, so you can get an understanding of how I go about solving a question. Okay, so in today's video, we'll be learning something new and something like a new concept of using how to use date difference if you have not used date difference in your past examples of questions. Okay, so it would be good understanding for you to how to learn to do that. And yeah, that's about it for today. And let's go ahead and share the screen. And I hope you guys watched the video to entirely. I've been observing a trend that people do not watch the video in entirety. So make sure you guys watch the entire video to understand the concept in depth so you can, learn it in proper. So you can actually go and implement it in further questions that you might want to solve. So let me go ahead and share my screen so I can go ahead and solve the question for you guys. So let me go ahead and share it. Okay. So this is the question that we have today, and this is the table that we're working with. And what does the question says? The question says simply that write a query to find the top three employees who have spent the most time at work. So if you can just observe the table, it says that it has employee ID, which is just the numbering, and then the check-in time and check-out time. So imagine some like a company, an MNC, which notes the hours somebody's entering and entering out. And what we are told is that, okay, you gotta find a query to find the top three employees who are like working, okay, because people like Infosys and TCS, they love this, right? They love people who work long hours. So this query would really be helpful for them to know which of their employees are working so hard. So yeah. So let me go ahead and write a query for this, okay? And this is the output we're expecting, and this is our table. Let me run this and see. So this is something that the table that we have today. And as usual, guys, pause it right now, try to solve it, come up with a solution in your head. It's a good question. I think you might be able to solve it. I feel so. So yeah. So yeah, pause the question, try to solve it, spend at least 15 minutes on it, not more than 15 minutes, okay? And come up with a solution. Doesn't matter, okay, how your solution is, but you have to have the ability to try. That is the most important requirement when it comes to solving questions in general, I feel. So let me see, okay. So what is the question it has? So it wants employee ID and then it wants total hours, okay? That is a requirement. And yeah, so when I think of question like this, the one thing that comes to my mind is that I probably have to use a sum function, because because we have the total hours, so we have to plus things, okay? And if we are using sum function, okay, we are basically using aggregation. So if I'm using aggregation, I have to use a group by function, in conjunction with the sum function. Now, how do I, for example, there's a check-in and check-out, and for we need to find the hours, right? And how do I do that? So the first step would obviously, your thought should be, okay, how do I get the total hours? Now you might want to say that, okay, I'm gonna do the best way if you can think of is, the the checkout minus check-in time, which will give us the time that we want. So that is the first step that you would want to do. And there are a lot of ways you might want to solve this. So you might want to create another column like which shows the hours or the minutes, okay, of the total hours, in let's say a fourth, fifth column on the side, and then calculate a sum on that. So that is the approach that you have to do it. But I'm gonna show you in a style which is very sleek, and it's very you don't have to create multiple tables or columns and without even doing this. So let me go ahead and write the question for you. So let me just write employee ID. Um, First, as you always remember that I made a mistake, that you always have to write the from function, because that is the order of the way things are actually happening in there. Now, if I do employee ID is here, and yeah, and what else have we have here? Okay, yeah. So select employee ID, and yeah, and what you have to do next is this. And then we also have to use group by on here's one employee ID. Because why are we using group by? Simple. Because we'll be using calculating the hours, right? Now let me go ahead and share the most important part of this query is this one, which is called as date difference. Okay. What is date difference? So date difference in my SQL server is basically a function that which can actually calculate the the difference between 2 points. Okay. So here I want so what I'm doing here is that I'm saying that I want the difference between check-in and check-out, and I want it to be on the minutes basis. Okay. Um, so I want the difference to be calculated on the minute basis. That's what I'm saying here. And yeah, so this is what this would do is that it will actually do like a difference on this one, right? So yeah, so this would actually calculate the difference between check-in and check-out. And now comes the important part where the group by function is being used. Okay, so we're gonna do a sum function on this thing. Okay, so I'm basically what I'm saying is that I want to sum the minutes of every employee ID. So I'm doing a sum of all the minutes of every employee. So for example, if you have the employee ID 11, I want to I would group it by and calculate a sum of that. So that will give me a total sum of the minutes. Now, as you observe, the question is not asking for total minutes. Okay, we have been asked specifically to find something called as hours. So how do you convert minute to hours? Very simple. I'm just gonna do something like this, and you have it the hours being calculated. So this is simply what we are doing, and let me see if this runs or not. Okay, let me see as total hours. Hold up. Uh, as total hours, total hours. Okay, so if you observe, it is giving us all the data that we want, that we actually wanted. So if you observe, understood what we did here was we calculated the minutes first. We first did use a date difference, check in and check out, and then we did a sum function on it to calculate the total minutes, and then to get this converted into hours, we can just did it by 60. Now if you observe, one problem in this thing is that there is in 5 digit, okay, 4 5 digits, which is not something that we're looking for. We want something which is sleek, okay, which is important, which looks proper, right? So I'm going to use something called as cast function here. Cast function is the best functions in my views to use because it gives you a huge control over on how to you know you basically get your decimals in order. So what does this do? So what this does in simple words to put in here cast function is that, so you added a cast here and as decimal. So what I'm saying to basically is that I'm saying that, hey, I want the total digits to be 10, which means that either on the left and the right side it has to be 10. That is what 10 means here. And I'm saying after the point it just has to be 2. That's my requirement. So if I run this here, let me see what pops up. So now we have something which is good, okay, and we this is the way we want it, okay. Now the question is that, okay, top 3 employees who have spent the most time at work. So that's what you're looking at, and we just want the top 3 employees, and you have to. So when say somebody says that top 3 employees who have spent the most time at work, that one thing that or what it strikes to me is that probably have to use an order by function because they want, first of all, they want the top three, and another thing is they want it to be the highest time, which means that I have to use order by and do it by descending. So to do that ahead, I would just put this into something like with employee hours. I'll just put this in a CTE, okay, as this, and yeah. And let me go ahead and put this into something like select, okay. Select everything from employee hours, okay, employee hours, okay, employee hours, okay. If I run this, okay, is the spelling correct? Okay. Okay, yeah. So if I do this, okay, yeah, so it's working perfectly right with employee hours, right? Now the problem is that no, not the problem I would say would be something like this, and what we want it to be ordered by total hours, right? Total hours, okay, total hours, okay, DASC, because we want it to be this way, right? So total hours, and now I would just want top three. Let me see if this works or not. Perfect. So what I did here was that I said that I want everything. So what does top three mean? Okay, top three is nothing but the fact that I just want to select the top three. It's very self-explanatory. But if I was using something like SQL Server, I would have to use a limit three here like this. Okay, that is the the syntax in SQL in my SQL or other SQL platforms. But in SQL Server, I have to use something called as selecting the top three, and this one basically just simply means that I want all the columns, okay? And I'm doing it by from employee hours, and I'm doing it by order by total hours descending order. So this is a very good question, okay? What you have to keep in mind is that a very important logically question, because in most of the interviews you're asked heavily on date difference and how to use this date difference and how to you do this. Another important factor is how to use the cast function in here, because people use sometime a lot of other factors. But in my view, if you want to work with decimals, this is the best way to actually go about doing it. And yeah, and how to use top three, really important query here too, okay? So I think it was a good question in my view. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would really appreciate, like if you could like this video, it really helps my channel to grow and keeps me motivated to work. Otherwise, it just becomes like, it doesn't even matter or something like that. So, your likes really motivate me. So I would really appreciate if you could have like 5 likes for this video. Yeah. So till then, have a good day. Take care. Bye. Take care.